In each of these three sets, God reveals something different about himself. So in the first set, he reveals himself through Moses to Pharaoh as the God of the Hebrews. So at this point, Pharaoh is being sort of encouraged to think of this as just another local god. Perhaps powerful, but no different than any of the gods that we have here in Egypt. The statecraft of the world at that time was intertwined with nations and gods. So when one nation went to war against another, it was sort of assumed that your gods were going to war against their gods. And so the idea here that the God of the Hebrews has got a bone to pick with Pharaoh is no different than the God of the Phoenicians has a bone to pick with Pharaoh. We'll get out on the battlefield and we'll settle it, and we'll figure out whose God is stronger. At this point is nothing that Pharaoh is constitutionally worried about. This is a powerful God. We got to take him seriously, but qualitative, he's no different than one of our gods. Next one is God in the midst of the land. Pharaoh, at this point, offers to let them worship in the land. And we'll talk about Pharaoh's compromises in a minute. And then finally, down here, it's the God of the world. So God is revealing himself in a progressive way to Pharaoh. First off, starting with something he can understand, and then going out to something that is way beyond his experience. And then Pharaoh, of course, doesn't listen. Then he promises release, but backs off. Wouldn't listen to the magicians. Remember, the magicians said, boss, we got something going on here. This is the finger of God. We can't handle this. So they're starting to realize that this God we are dealing with is something more than the God of the Phoenicians or the God of the Greeks or whatever other God we happen to be dealing with. And of course, it takes Pharaoh quite a while to pick up on just exactly what he's dealing with. And the reason for that, of course, is that he has a hard heart. Initially, he hardens his own heart. But then, of course, later on, God hardens his heart to give him the courage of his own convictions.